Hello, this is McD the Beast, and this is McD Sports 4 coming to you today with my Florida State Seminoles football predictions for the 2019 college football season. Before I continue, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button and please subscribe to the channel. It will be greatly appreciated if you do that. I have a goal to hit 200 subscribers by August 24th, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you're not subscribed, you won't regret it, and it'll be greatly appreciated if you do. Anyways, Florida State, a team that was very disappointing last year. First time they haven't made a bowl game since 1976. Hopefully, a lot of Noles fans think that they are going to bounce back this year. I think they'll bounce back a little bit, but not that much. I'll be completely upfront with you. But we're going to go through the pros and cons for Florida State, then your best case and worst case scenario, then your three toughest and three easiest games. Then we're going to go through the schedule game by game. I'm going to tell you which games Florida State is going to win or lose this year. And I'll give you a final record prediction and conference record prediction. One more note before we continue. Don't hold me to the wins and losses of the games on the schedule for Florida State. Just hold me to the final record prediction at the end. So let's say I have Florida State going 12-0, which I don't, by the way. But let's say I have them going 12-0. Don't hold me to that, basically. But anyways, let's start off with the pros and cons. Two pros, two cons. First pro is the defense. I think that the Florida State defense is actually pretty good. Personally, I think they kind of quit last year because that offense was really bad, which I'll get into it here in a minute. But the defense, in my opinion, is very good. Is not very good, but I think it's good. I think it's a good, solid defense that I think could carry Florida State to a few wins against some of these ACC opponents, or maybe our conference opponents. The second pro is your ACC. Is that you're in the ACC. Florida State, the ACC. Listen, I can make an argument that the American is better than the ACC. So, the ACC, I mean, you do have Clemson in front of you, which is not good at all because they're going to win the ACC like they have the previous few years. Sorry, Florida State fans, but this year's not your year to win the ACC. But yeah, since Florida State's in the ACC, you would think they'll have a shot in a lot of the games in the ACC, except maybe against Clemson. So that's definitely a pro for Florida State. Two cons for Florida State. Your first con is the offense. The offense was terrible last year. For Francois, the quarterback, he's gone because he committed domestic violence or he was accused of domestic violence. So you're going to have Justin Blackman. We saw him play some when Francois went down 2 years ago. So you guys know what you're going to get out of him. He's an average quarterback in my opinion, and he's not going to be a difference maker in my opinion. So, and especially the offensive line. Florida State has one of the worst offensive lines in the country. So that's definitely a big time Achilles heel for you there on offense. Your second con is Willie Target. Listen, I'm not gonna make Willie Target jokes, and I do think it's absolutely disrespectful. Some of the hate that Willie Target has been receiving, some like racism, that he's been receiving. I really, I don't suggest doing that. I really don't. But last year was disappointing, and this is a big year for him. He's definitely on the hot seat. I don't like putting coaches on the hot seat in their second year, but you're at Florida State. You gotta win. Florida State should be one of those programs that should be winning 8-9 games bare minimum consistently. So he's definitely on the hot seat after missing the first bowl game in Florida State history since 1976. But I already mentioned that fact. But anyways, Willie Target is on the hot seat. So now let's look at your best case and worst case scenario. Here's the schedule way in front of you. Your best case scenario is 10-2. Your worst case scenario is 3-9. Best case scenario 10-2. Listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. You're not beating Clemson and you're not beating Florida this year. Okay, there's no way you guys are gonna beat either one of those teams. If somehow you pull off the upset, Virginia's right there as well. So at Clemson, at Virginia, at Florida, you all will lose at least 2 out of those 3 games. So that's why your best case scenario is 10-2. Worst case scenario, 3-9. Listen, I look at this schedule as a pretty tough schedule outside 2 games, Louisiana Monroe and Alabama State. You do get Louisville at home, but you should have lost to them last year, so that might not be a give me. But overall, outside the Louisiana Monroe and the Alabama State game, I think you guys win at least one more game out of, after those 2 games. But I mean, outside of that, I mean, worst case scenario, 3-9. I mean, this is kind of a tough schedule here for Florida State. Your 3 toughest games, as I just mentioned them: Clemson, Florida, and Virginia. Um, no explanation really needed for Clemson. No explanation really needed for Florida. I could have gone Miami, but I went with Virginia because it's earlier in the year and you're on the road against them. So that's why I went with Virginia. Your 3 easiest games are Louisiana Monroe, Alabama State, and Louisville. As I basically said, Louisiana Monroe and Alabama State, you gotta win those 2 games if you even want to get into a bowl game. And Louisville, listen, I could have gone Louisville. I thought about Boise State. I thought about Boston College. I went Louisville because of how they went last year, honestly. I know last year you guys should have lost them. They kept on throwing the ball for some reason. Dumb Bobby Petrino, whatever the hell his last name is. He's irrelevant anyways. But Louisville, I think Louisville's going to be bad this year again, like they were last year. So that's why I threw them down as your 3rd easiest game. So let's go through the schedule now. I'll tell you which games Florida State is going to win or lose. Once again, don't hold me to the game by game picks here. Just hold me to the record at the end. So first game is Boise State at home. Well, not at home. It's in Jacksonville, but it's basically a home game. It's a neutral site game. Boise State, if you saw my predictions for them already, you already know who I have in that game. But let me just preview this for a minute here, or maybe like 30 seconds. Boise State is a team, to me, is one of the best group of 5 teams going into this year, like they are every year. Pretty good offense, pretty good defense, pretty good head coach, pretty much a pretty good all-rounded team. And I actually went with Boise State. I think Boise State is the type of team that could go into a neutral site and beat Florida State. I don't think they're really scared of anybody. I have a 38-31 Boise State. I think this will be a fun game to watch. Unfortunately, I would not. Unfortunately, I won't really be watching this game like closely because the Auburn Oregon game is on the same time. But I'll have it on one of the screens. Like during like game days, I have like 4 or 5 screens in front of me watching games. So I have it on one of the screens, but I think Boise State wins 38-31. Next game is Louisiana Monroe. This will be a win. This is a game that you guys have to win if you want to make a bowl game. I have it 43-14 Louisiana Monroe. Next game is at Virginia. If you already saw my Virginia predictions, you already know who I have in this game. I think Virginia is a dark horse in the ACC. I mean, you look obviously Clemson's probably going to win the ACC, but if I had to put my money on somebody else, I would say Virginia. And I have Virginia winning this game. The game's in Charlottesville, Virginia. I have a 24-13 Virginia. Next game is Louisville, a team that you had trouble beating last year, but you got through it because Louisville choked that game away. But the game's in Tallahassee this year. I think Florida State wins this game very easily, actually, 39-10. Louisville, as I said, probably your worst team in the ACC this year. Next game is NC State, a team that is losing a lot of talent defensively, and they're having a new quarterback as well. To me, this is a 50-50 pick'em game right here. NC State is a team that I think could very well go into Tallahassee and beat them. They've beaten Florida State a few times before when Florida State had Jameis Winston and the crew. So NC State is definitely a team that I think is capable of beating you all. I think this will be a dogfight, but I think Florida State does win this game at the end. I have it 30-27 Florida State. It's in Tallahassee. That's the difference there. So then you go into your first bye week. Every team gets 2 bye weeks because of how the calendar aligns with the schedule this year, except if you're Miami or Florida. But overall, Yeah, every team gets 2 bye weeks because of how the calendar aligns on the schedule. But anyways, coming off the bye week, you get to go on the road against Clemson. Clemson's also coming off a bye week as well, just a little bit of a FYI. And as I said at the beginning of the video, you guys are going to lose this game. I mean, do I think you guys can maybe be competitive in this game? Yes. I don't have you guys being competitive in this game. I have it 49-17. I think you guys are nowhere near Clemson, honestly. So 49-17 Clemson in that one. Next game is at Wake Forest, a Wake Forest team that has a very good offense but a pretty bad defense. Reminds me of a similar team that I vote for or root for. Oh yeah, the Maryland Terps. But anyways, Wake Forest. The games in the games in Greensboro. I think Wake Forest is going to beat you all this year. I have it 42-41. Florida State could very well go into Greensboro and beat them, but I do have Wake Forest winning this one, 42-41. Next game is Syracuse at home. This is your homecoming game. Rename the king and queen, but Syracuse is a team. They won 10 games last year. Some people think that is a fluke. I don't think it's much of a fluke. I think they might drop off a little bit because they have a new quarterback. This is going to be a very competitive game here. I think Florida State could very well beat Syracuse, but I have Syracuse actually going down into Tallahassee and winning this one. If you watch my Syracuse predictions, you already know that I have Syracuse winning that game. And I have it 40-38 Syracuse. Next game is Miami. The game is in Tallahassee as well. Miami is a team that I think is getting extremely overhyped. They're going to have a very good defense, but the offense could be lacking some. I spoke with some Miami fans. I'm very confident in the quarterback there and Nikoski Perry. I'm not too confident in him. I went back and forth with this one. This is a rivalry game. At this point, Florida State, they're going to be 3-5. They're going to be a very desperate team at this point. I have Florida State winning this game. I do think this will be a little bit of an upset, honestly, but I have Florida State winning this game 28-23. This game always seems to be very close. It seems to bring the best out of both teams, but I think Florida State gets them this year 28-23. Next game is Boston College at home, a team that I'm not too high on. I think last year they kind of hit their peak. They lost some talent to the NFL, which is a good thing because more NFL draftees, more talent you get. But anyways, Boston College, a team I'm not too high on. I do have Florida State winning this game. The game's in Tallahassee. 23-20 is the score I have. I think the game will be close. Boston College, I still think will field a decent defense, but I have Florida State winning this one 23-20. Next game is Alabama State. Alabama State, FCS opponent, your easiest game of the year. I feel like I just spoke about them as well. Yeah, they play UAB and Auburn, so I have spoken about Alabama State a little bit. You can go check out the UAB and Auburn football prediction videos on the McD Sports 4 YouTube channel. But anyways, Florida State's going to beat Alabama State. I don't think it'll be close. 45-7 FCS opponent. Really no explanation there. Even though last year you guys had trouble against Stanford. But I think Stanford was ranked in the FCS top 25, I believe. So I don't think Alabama State would be. I don't know anything about Alabama State, but 45-7 Florida State. Then you get your second bye, and then final game of the year, of course, at Florida. The good news is that you're already going to be bowl eligible for this one at 6-5 because you will lose this game, as I said at the beginning of the video. 42-17. If you watched my Florida football prediction video, you already know that I had Florida beating Florida State this year. And I also have Florida beating Miami as well. So that's two teams. That's two games that Miami losing. Just in case you're a Miami hater, since a lot of Florida State fans are usually Miami haters. But I don't think you're anywhere close to Florida either. So I think you lose. I have it 42-17. So if you've been counting up the wins and losses, I actually kind of just gave it to you. I have Florida State going 6-6 with a 4-4 conference record. So 6-6 with a 4-4 conference record. So you guys get back in the bowl game, but it won't be that good of a bowl game. I'm not too high on Florida State. I'll be straight up front with you. I'm not too high on them. I think I did say that at the beginning of the video, but I'm not too high on them. I think they'll be a bit better, but I'm very concerned about that offense. I really am. I think that could be a big time Achilles heel for you all. But I'll be watching. Don't worry. Comment down below. Tell me what you think about my Florida State football predictions. I always like hearing from you all. Tomorrow is Pitt, so stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button and please subscribe to the channel. It will be greatly appreciated if you do that. Thanks for watching, and this is McD the Beast signing off.